Well, I think I'm ready to do a review on my Wasr. Wasrs get kind of a bad rap if they're prior to the 2008 models. It's probably a deserved reputation, but I can say that my model, which is a 2014 model, has been completely dependable, has been completely functional, and I would trust this weapon with protecting my life if it came to that. I have that much confidence in this weapon. And this weapon would have functioned just well with the wood furniture. The fact that I have replaced the wooden furniture, the remaining wooden furniture, was just nothing more than a personal preference of my own. I am particularly fond of Magpul products. I obviously chose to go with the Mo AK stock, the Mo AK handguard, Mo vertical grip, and the Mo AK pistol grip, but I went with the Mo Plus. I prefer that rubber texture. It provides better grip. Again, all these things were personal preference and comfort choices. When I had the weapon in the beginning and I shot it and I ran it with the wood furniture, it functioned just fine. It was perfectly comfortable, and you probably could have ran it for years and years and years like that. An additional thing that I've added is the Ultimac rail. I didn't make this choice easily. In the beginning, I wanted to just keep it iron sights, but as I shot my Wasr more and more, there was more. I knew there was more potential there than the iron sights would give me. And the iron sights were fine. They were very accurate. 0 to 200 meters, I had no problems. But I wanted to shoot it in more of a QCB type range setup. Maybe, anywhere from 2 to 50 meters. And so I wanted to be able to acquire the target at a little faster pace than I was with the iron sights. So I did a ton of research. I had the ability to mount a sight on the side of the weapon, and there was any number of other options out there. But what I chose and what I think I liked the most, not only from reviews but from videos and some other information that folks have put out on forums, was the Ultimac gas rail. And my experience so far, and I've put a couple hundred rounds through this since I've had the Ultimac on there, and my primary arms microdot, is that this thing is fantastic. It is solid. It is everything that it is advertised to be. Does it heat up? It does in fact heat up. Has it affected the sight in any way? It has not. I have run 5-6 magazines consecutively. I have run a 75 round drum, followed very, very shortly by another 30 round magazine. It does in fact get very hot, but it hasn't affected my zero, nor has it affected the sight. So I think this is my final setup for this Wasr. I don't think there'll be any more changes to this anytime soon. The only thing that I debated, and if you saw in my last video, was I was running a AK-74 Tapco style muzzle device, and that adds an extra 5 ounces to the front of the weapon. Not a deal breaker, not enough to make it where it's that big of an issue, but I've tested the Tapco slotted muzzle device, obviously the slanted, in the AK-74 style muzzle device. I do like the AK-74 style muzzle device, but I was having some issues with the additional length of the weapon for what I wanted to use it for. And that's pretty much what it boiled down to. I can shoot it accurately. I can put second and third rounds on target in a reasonable amount of time with the slanted, so I've chosen to go with the shorter, lighter muzzle device, and that being the original slanted muzzle device. I think it does fine for what I'm going to use it for. So besides that, and like I said in my last video, I did run some some extensive runs with the with the other muzzle device, but I'm going to go with this. This is my final choice. So I think this is my final setup. I don't foresee changing anything except for maybe a way of the gun type sling that I'm going to put on here with the QD mounts and such. But beyond that, I think this is the final setup for my Wasr. I think what I will go into next is I'm going to cut away, and I'm just going to go over some of the wear that I have on this weapon so far. I'm right about 2,300 rounds right now through this, so I want to go over some of the parts of the weapon, and there aren't many that show any type of wear at all. It's actually doing great. Now 2,300 rounds isn't a huge round count, but it's a sufficient enough round count to where I can get a feel with what's going on here if I have any issues or I have any wear on this that's unnatural. But before we do that, just to give you a quick look on how solid this looks. I mean, that Ultimac rail, not only is it rock solid, not only does it hold zero, but one of the other things that kind of made it the way I wanted to go was the fact that if this optic does go down, I have co-witnessed iron sights through the optic, so I don't have to remove the optic. I can continue on with whatever I'm doing at that point in time and engage the targets because my irons are co-witnessed through the optic. So that was also another strong point that made the decision a little easier for me to go with the Ultimac. But I'm going to go ahead and cut away and show you some wear on this, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and we've got the weapon partially disassembled. So I wanted to cover the wear that this weapon has after 2,300 rounds. Nothing to be shown here. Not even any wear marks on that. We wouldn't expect too much, but there's nothing really there. Where I have seen the wear, obviously, is where you're going to see the most contact on the weapon, and that's the bolt carrier group piston portion of the weapon. As you can see here on camera, you can see some friction wear from the piston going back and forth where it's coming in contact with the other metal portions of the AK. I mean, it's nothing gouged, it's just the finish that's coming off on a couple points where there's some wear. Obvious wear on the head of the piston, you're going to get that carbon buildup, but nothing, no nicks, no gouges, no scratches there. The only place where there's any type of real visible type of damage to the metal is if you can see on camera right here at the rear of the bolt carrier group, you can see some mushrooming of the metal right there. It's nothing too extreme, but it's there. But I think it's to be expected. Some folks say it's because of the type of trigger, you know, the trigger that they've put in, the Tapco trigger. It might be just the metal doing what it's going to do. Regardless of AK model that you have, you're going to get a certain amount of metal, a certain amount of mushrooming here at the back end of the bolt carrier, which is, I think, what we have here. It hasn't advanced. It hasn't gotten any worse. After maybe the first couple hundred rounds, that's where it is, and that's where it stayed. So that's probably, well, actually, that is the most wear on this weapon right now. 2,300 rounds later, a little mushrooming on the bolt carrier group, but nothing to be alarmed about, nothing that you wouldn't expect. The only additional thing to add here is on the inside of the weapon, I did do a mod. And let me see if I can get this for the camera to pick up. If you look right here on the inside of the magazine well on this side, and if I rotate it this way, you'll see right here on this side of the magazine well, I've added a little bit of JB weld. And I did this when I first got the Wasr due to the fact that you're going to get a little bit of magazine wobble with pretty much any Wasr that you purchase. So I added a little bit of it in there. It doesn't affect the function, doesn't affect anything, doesn't get in the way of anything. But what it does do is provide a very solid hookup to any type of magazine you decide to use. There is no wobble, no flex, no play with that. Just a very solid hookup with the magazine. So again, just a little JB weld on the inside of your magazine well there. Obviously you want to clean it out and degrease it and apply it. Probably when you first get the weapon, it's going to be flush. You're going to make it flush with this. You can always sand it down if you had to, and you will have no further magazine wobble. That takes us to the inside of our washer, and there is nothing in there that you wouldn't expect to see with any other AK model as far as wear that you're getting. You know, a little bit of wear marks here, friction marks, metal on metal, but a little bit on the trigger assembly there where you're going to get the impacting of the bolt carrier group. But all that's to be expected. Beyond that, nothing. It has been a solid performer. It's been 100% reliable.